think what happened on June 3rd, 2015 was as a result of poor planning, or that was also climate change?
June 3rd. Where was I?
I remember where I was.
I think I was nowhere close circle, but it used to be one of the routes that I take when going to work. But that day, I just decided to stay indoors a bit. What happened at Circle on that day, I strongly believe is as a result of poor planning and then climate change as well. Poor planning in the sense that if it was the flood that occurred that day was also because that the gutters were choked, the drainage systems were not so properly constructed. They were not climate resilient enough. And the poor planning in the sense that Ghana still was putting itself together as to how to really capacitate itself when issues like that happen. Interestingly, it was in that same year that, in the climate change space, there are so many laws, agreements, treaties, and it was in that same year that the Conference of Parties, which we normally call COP, the 21st meeting was held, and it was settled down that there has to be a reduction of the global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And adaptation was really made so strong. So you can imagine that if a country that is still developing and grappling with basic amenities gets hit by flood, it becomes very devastating. And on top of it, explosion happens. That's like a double disaster. It's just sad. So because of poor planning, this became very, very serious to us. I believe that if things were put in place to increase our capacity to adaptation, it would have reduced probably maybe the number of people who would have lost their lives, or maybe it would have been zero, but people probably would have gotten hurt because after all there was an explosion. So this is what I think really drove.
So it was both.
It was both. It was both. I mean, when we look at our planning system in Ghana, anybody can just erect a structure anywhere they feel like. When you are by the roadside, you know that where you are is the pavement, but it's been taken over by street vendors. You can't really do anything, because if you try anything, it will turn into a violent encounter, and you wouldn't want to also experience that. You know, the drainage systems are shallowly constructed. Sometimes there are no vents to allow the excess water on the road inside. And I've realized that on I think several sections on the road, which is actually destroying the road. So the roads are not even climate resilient.